All right, let's jump right into this. Grief. It's something that, eventually touches every single one of us at some point in our lives, yet it almost always feels incredibly isolating when you're in it. In today's explainer, we're not just going to look at the cold theory of loss, we're going to explore how to actually process it step by step and figure out how to uncover the hidden wisdom and eventual peace that can follow a truly devastating loss. So, how exactly do you find hidden wisdom inside a devastating loss? It's a massive question, isn't it? When a tragedy strikes, looking for some kind of silver lining often feels completely impossible. Sometimes it even feels a little offensive. So, rather than handing you a clinical, rigid roadmap today, we're going to lean into the beautiful poetry and the raw, lived experiences from our source material to guide us through this deeply emotional journey. We'll be looking at real, on-the-ground insights from a mother navigating the loss of her adult daughter and finding out how she eventually found her footing again. Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, Wisdom in the Storm, and where we start finding peace. There's this fantastic poem called Method Madness, and it perfectly captures where this journey usually begins. It says, "Chaos is order yet to be recognized. In the eye of the storm nests peace undiscovered." I love that. It brilliantly illustrates that even when everything around you feels like absolute, utter madness, there's actually a method hidden in there. If you can just step back for a second, pull yourself away slightly to gain an overarching perspective, you might actually find hidden treasure sitting right there in the wreckage. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Think about how we can entirely reframe the sheer, staggering scale of our pain. The fact that a loss impacts you so severely isn't just a sign of your suffering. It's actually wisdom revealing the true deep value of what you lost. If something hits you way harder than you expected, well, that immense pain is a direct reflection of how deeply connected you were to that person. That pain is a testament to the love that existed. Recognizing that, that's the very first step towards finding meaning. But to actually move forward from that beautiful realization, we hit a really tough word: surrender. Now, scratch what you might normally think. In the context of grief, surrendering isn't about giving up or betraying the person you lost. Not at all. It's simply accepting the unchangeable past. As our source highlights so well, you literally cannot reverse the hands of time. If you don't surrender to the reality that the event occurred, you're going to stagnate. You have to leave that stagnation behind if you're ever going to see the potential of the tomorrows that are still waiting for you. Moving right along to Section 2, Finding the Inner Quiet and Actively Cultivating Peace. This brings us to another poem, Quiet Time, which gives us this absolutely vital reminder. Now I can turn to what is here to serve me. Peace isn't just the absence of external noise. It's a deliberate, cultivated internal state. You can be in a loud, crowded room and still hold on to inner quiet, and that quietness gives you the space to actually reflect on your situation and see new possibilities, rather than just constantly reacting to the pain. So here's the absolutely crucial point. The most dangerous noise in your life, it is not outside your window. It's not the ambulances, the shouting, or the busy city streets. The most insidious noise is the buzzing thoughts, the heavy regrets, and the endless what-ifs echoing inside your head. It's the, if only I had done this differently, or what if that one thing didn't happen? That internal noise completely arrests your awareness and completely blocks your ability to heal. Which leads us to a pretty tough but super necessary question. Are you becoming your own captor? One of the most heartbreaking realities discussed in our source is how grief can literally turn us into prisoners of our own racing thoughts. By constantly fixating on the event itself, you risk missing the living family members, the children, the friends, right in front of you who still desperately need your presence and your love. If your mind is locked up in the past, you simply cannot be present for them today. All right, let's head into Section 3, the slow shift, and what healing over time actually looks like. I absolutely love this metaphor from the poem Shift Happens. It says healing is exactly like watching paint dry. I mean, think about it. If you sit there and just stare at a wet wall, you are not going to see a single thing changing in the moment. It completely eludes your glare. But those invisible shifts, they are occurring in the background. Healing doesn't happen in giant cinematic leaps. It happens quietly, slowly, in the spaces in between the days. And this slow, grueling reality is heartbreakingly clear when we look at the firsthand account of a mother who lost her 35-year-old daughter. Just look at this timeline for some perspective. In year 1, she was utterly bitter and sad, totally unable to see a way forward. By year 2, the anger really set in. She was getting triggered by simple things in the supermarket, or by just a lingering scent of her daughter when she opened her wardrobe. Year 3 brought this intense pain, random tears out of nowhere, and a deep desire to just isolate from the world. Fast forward to year 12. The pain? It's still there, but a fundamental shift has occurred. She made the choice to survive and live again. This just proves that grief doesn't magically disappear in 2 weeks. It's a long, deeply evolving process. So what actually caused that shift for her? Well, it was a really stark realization about the people still standing right in front of her. She realized that staying perpetually miserable was indirectly inflicting profound pain on her surviving children, who were looking to her for strength as they mourned their own sibling. This forced a massive divide in her mind. There was life before the event, where you assume you have a long life and constantly put off your joy, versus life after the event, where you fully realize just how fragile everything is. She realized she had to completely shift her thinking if she was going to survive. And that brings us to Section 4, living on new ground and finding wisdom in the present moment. There's a poem here called Grounds for Consideration that really challenges us to actively assess our lives. The mother in our source mentions how she actually does this every New Year's Eve. While everyone else is partying, making noise, eating jollof rice, she takes a quiet internal moment. She asks herself, is my current path actually still working for me? Is the ground I'm standing on solid? Is it shaky? Or has it literally become quicksand? When you take a step back and evaluate your life like that, you're basically faced with a matrix of choices, right? First, if your situation isn't working, you can rebuild the ground, meaning fix your current situation. Second, you can move to better land, actually changing your physical or emotional location entirely to an environment that supports you. Or third, if you realize you are exactly where you need to be, you can simply celebrate and find deep, profound gratitude right where you stand. And man, we can draw some incredible, highly actionable wisdom directly from that 35-year-old daughter who so tragically passed away. She was literally the ultimate lastminute.com kind of person. She lived fully. She didn't wait around for friends to agree to go to the cinema or on a trip. If they pulled out, she just went solo. She enjoyed her own company. The mother reflects on this beautiful lesson: do not wait for a promised old age. Don't buy that beautiful 100-pound fabric and save it for an event 5 years from now. Wear it today. Be happy today. We are constantly presuming a future that nobody has ever actually promised us. Well, that brings us to the end of our explainer today. But before we go, I want to leave you with a final, pretty provocative thought to just kind of chew on. Are you waiting for a tomorrow that isn't promised, or will you choose to live fully today? Because honestly, the greatest way to honor those you've lost isn't to stop living, it's to take in the joys of the present moment, embrace the hard-earned wisdom you've gained, and fiercely celebrate the life you still have. Thanks so much for exploring this with me today.